Welcome to Fargo Talks Fargo, an unofficial podcast on the FX television show. Fargo Talks Fargo is hosted by me, Bill Lempe, and my buddy Sharpie. Sponsors for this season of Fargo Talks Fargo are TAG, celebrating Fargo and the Midwest community through t-shirts, art, and graphics. For more information, visit tagfargo.com. And Fargo Brewing Company's Wood Chipper India Pale Ale with its bold hop flavor and velvety body. Grab a pint or visit them online at fargobrewing.com. All right, here we are, episode 2, covering the Rooster Prince. Sharpie, how you doing?
Hey now, doing pretty good.
Sharpie was just
cross
here.
country.
Yeah.
I've left
Nomadic
the Fargo
life.
tundra.
Across, yeah.
Actually, it was
It's going to be
beautiful.
pretty sweet.
At the Fairfield Inn.
Yep, I'm at
Did I get that right?
Fairfield Inn in sunny
That sounds
Rapid
so
City,
glamorous.
South Dakota.
Yeah. That is our guest for tonight, speaking there. Diane Miller, editor of the High Plains Reader, local musician here in Fargo. Diane's in like 17 bands.
Actually, it's 429 bands. But
I don't know how she does it.
everybody gets it wrong every time, and it's
Yeah.
okay. I mean,
It's just
out.
you and Pat Lennertz are in a race for who can be in more bands here in town.
We fight about it all the time.
Just think of I-29, add 400. Easy.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. He knows what's up.
So, and Diane also grew up in the area, in Fargo.
I am a Fargoan. I'm a Fargo South 2004 graduate. I also went to MSUM.
See?
Sí se
We're
puede.
keeping the show real. There's other podcasts on this show, but they don't know what we know, being from the Midwest. So
No.
let's take a quick jog back to last week, Sharpie.
Yeah, let's
The Crocodile's Dilemma. We thought we had something there. Shortly afterwards, we checked out the @FX Fargo
Yep.
Twitter folks who also have a blog, and they had another
And
idea
then it just
about the
made me
crocodiles.
feel like a complete dum-dum.
Yeah, didn't work out for
It's right
us.
in front of our eyes the entire time. So just to recap, we were talking about the Crocodile's Dilemma, which is the name of episode 1, and we were trying to relate it to the story of the Crocodile's Dilemma. If you don't know it, you can tune back in or just Google it. And trying to relate the story to certain characters of the Fargo show. So I was just racking my brain on it. We were talking about, could it be Lester, who is the crocodile, or Lauren, who is the crocodile, and Lester's being challenged?
Are you going to really recap the entire thing?
I'm just doing a quick recap, Bill. Stick with me here. Anyway, the folks at FX Fargo,
who are not the actual Fargo FX people.
yeah, not to be confused with Fargo FX, FX Fargo.
Yeah.
Their theory was that the Crocodile's Dilemma related to Gus Grimley, the officer at the end of episode 1, where he's being challenged by Lorne,
The crocodile.
the crocodile, who puts Gus into the predicament. Is Gus going to be a good cop and arrest Lorne, or is he going to be a good father and
Yeah. There's actually a
protect his
kid
daughter?
involved in that one.
It
So.
seems a little more obvious now.
Yeah.
We were
Well, who knows? Maybe we're all right.
in the end, maybe.
So the only other cool thing is we got a fun little retweet last night about Hot Dish from @Julianne Emery. Julianne Emery plays Ida Thurman on the show. If you don't know who that is, she's the pregnant wife who can't figure out what color to paint the baby's room. So it's nice to see we got a little retweet from her and then a comment about, I think she just tweeted back, "Hot dishes!" ! And we failed miserably last night, Diane. We made mention that we were going to make Hot Dish for the show last night. And what did we do?
You didn't?
We had pizza.
Oh my gosh. You could have made hot dish pizza. How delicious would that be?
We did. We talked about that on the Hot Dish last night, too.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that would be
We couldn't get a hot
absolutely
dish pizza last night.
disgusting, but it would so be Midwest.
So, well, we probably should move on to episode 2, The Rooster
Yes.
Prince.
The Rooster Prince.
Goodness gracious. Somebody
Yet
needs to go
another title.
Wikipedia that. We won't let Sharpie explain it this week.
All right, fine.
The quick and dirty is right. What? So it's an old story. There's a young prince who thinks he's a rooster, strips down, gets butt naked, and is under the table. Thinks he's a rooster, and eventually they get somebody to come in who comes down to his level and starts slowly working him back to not being such a cock.
Yes,
Right?
they basically bring in a tutor because everybody's so concerned about this crazy-ass prince who thinks he's a rooster. And the tutor basically becomes a rooster as well and talks rooster to the prince and slowly but surely convinces him to, sit at the table, eat food like a person. He can still be a rooster, but he just has to act like a person.
Yeah.
So the rooster prince gradually becomes, a regular human prince.
Well, it's a get your shit together, coach.
Yeah.
Right? Which is
so that's
what
basically
any prince would have from any kind of background and wealth. Mom and dad hire you a get your shit together coach.
That's
like a
right.
life coach, right?
Like Oprah. Oprah Winfrey is a rooster.
This is pre Oprah. You couldn't just turn on the telly and get that kind of awesome advice from your best friend Gail. You've got to you got to figure it out yourself. So we get introduced to some new characters that come along from the Fargo crime syndicate.
You're skipping ahead a little bit. Let's wrap up the Rooster Prince.
You wrap it up
a little bit. You found a great article on a website called Sound on Sight, soundonsight.org, where they kind of go through and walk us through each character and how they could relate to the Rooster Prince theory. Mm-hmm. They kind of go through everybody and kind of talk about how they could be the rooster in this way and this would be their teacher. Obviously, or the most obvious, is Lester being the Rooster Prince and him actually having two tutors. One who is Lorne, who's teaching Lester, sort of the insecure little pussy, I guess you might say, to break out of his shell and become the man that he is. And then the other tutor, let's see. Now I lost my spot.
You're just reciting this.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. And then
we
the
also
other
stole
tutor
that link from
is Bill Olsen because the officer, because he's kind of painting Lester.
Bill Olsen.
Yeah, that's his name, right?
No.
Captain Bill Olsen.
Bill Oswalt.
Oswald.
Yeah.
Is that it? Oh,
yep.
They have Bill Olsen.
Well,
definitely Oswald.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Well, who typed up a really great breakdown
They
of
didn't
the
do their
rooster.
the research.
So they say, because he's painting Lester as this, totally innocent character, which obviously he's not.
Yeah.
No.
We'll put the links in the show notes.
Yeah, put a link in the show notes. You should go read it. It's awesome. I mean, if we could talk about that for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but Bill's not going to let us.
No, we got to temper it with a little bit of what the hell's going on because so this week a little slower than last week, I'd say. Body count down 3.
Down 3.
But we open with the guys that come from the Fargo crime syndicate, which I still it's my favorite part that there's a crime syndicate in Fargo. Seeing as we record this in Fargo, I'm still unaware of our crime syndicate in this town, and
that's the idea.
I guess it's just I gotta get a little down and dirty. But we meet Mr. Numbers and Mr. Wrench is what everyone seems to be calling them, and I have to tell you I love Adam Goldberg. Ever since Dazed and Confused, it's just so awesome in so many shows. So they show up, and it's obviously something important if they're showing up to take care of Sam Hess getting a knife in the back of the head while he's doing it.
That's right. You had some interesting kind of theories on Coen Brothers, the bad guys in Coen Brothers movies.
Well, so I rewatched the episode, and I don't know, maybe Diane noticed this too. The people who are kind of like generally bad on the shows always seem to drive like late model 80s shitty cars. Like all the way back to the actual movie Fargo. I mean, the Cutlass, the Sierra, that was actually pretty time sensitive, but like the opening scene of episode 1, Lauren's driving like a Chrysler New Yorker or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's in this 2006? Like, who the fuck would be driving that car?
Apparently, the killers think it keeps them under wraps, but I have no idea. Yeah, it's a common theme among movies.
Maybe it's just what the budget can afford.
Yeah, no doubt. They're not sexy cars.
They're not sexy cars, but they are kind of grungy and ugly looking in many ways, and it fits their ugly attire.
I guess he does end up with that, what did we say it was? It was a 1996 Ford Taurus.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
That we do notice that Gus Grimley has another little tie back to the movie 1996, the year the movie was released. And he has it written as gold, which I just assumed was the Oscars. They won.
That might
So
be
that's his
a
best
hot
car.
tip there. You might have a hot lead, Bill.
So he trades that car, and we're going to skip all over just because we're talking about the car situation. So he dumps the car off, and then when he gets the next one, he gets like another crappy like Pontiac station wagon. Yeah, that's got the wood paneling.
And that was a great part. Yeah, so we're skipping a little bit ahead there, but when Lorne Malvo leaves the grocery store, so he obviously drives to the grocery store in the 1996 Ford Taurus. When he leaves, he does not leave in the Ford Taurus. He just walks into somebody's car and drives away.
I was trying
the doors open. They just loaded the groceries up. And
evidently at Phoenix Shopping grocers, they have like curbside service where you just leave your car running and you hand your keys to a guy.
Well, that's the thing about Billy Bob Thornton is we are so attracted to him because of his invincibility to do absolutely anything from like talking someone into whatever he wants, from getting an envelope or even just walking into a car. Absolutely everything that he does is so invincible without a flinch.
And nobody just there was no hesitation. I don't even think he looked around, did he?
Absolutely not. He never flinches.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you rob something, you see him like do the whole like turn to your left, look around, is anybody watching this shit? He's just like, no, I'm done here. I got my new book and I'm going to get in the car and leave.
And even at times, because I remember in the first episode, there was one point where when he was talking with Sam Hess, he looked kind of like he was going to second guess himself, but he was so good at playing that off, and then he just walks away. No, I just want to get a look at you.
Yeah.
So that they didn't go and follow him afterwards.
I think there are just so many people. I think that's the thing about his characters. He's written to be just that way, that he just, that's what gets him off a little bit, I think.
Oh, yes. And it's brilliant. It's so brilliant the way that Noah Hawley is writing it. He's got quite a knack for playing with your mind.
So let's talk about that real quick, because Diane, you actually, for the High Plains Reader, you had a chance to do an interview with Noah Hawley.
I did, yes.
Before even the first episode aired, correct?
Correct. Yep, this was before the episode aired. They sent me. It was funny because the package came really late to us. Like, at first, they didn't send it to us. The second time, I accidentally put one number wrong in the address, so we had to run at the UPS. I watched the first episud right before, like, rushed through the first episode to watch it, and I got to interview
it before
him.
The interview.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous. Raul and me were like pretty much outside the UPS store, like peeking in the building. We had to go up to like a outside worker who was just kind of lurking around the outside scenes and find him. Can you get us inside the building? And so he got us in. Anyways, so we drove home. We were all celebrating because we got our first 4 episodes in this really elaborate, beautiful package. And then it was even better when I started talking to Noah Hawley, because for one thing, he's such a sweetheart. He was so nice, and he was so candid and so had such great things to say, even in the article. For those who read the article, he had a lot of great things to say.
Yeah, did you know, and I know both Sharpie and I watched the Paley Center for the Arts, did the live thing. I feel like we mentioned it in like 8 episodes now, but it's the only like thing that they've done live that I've seen them do, and he seemed just so like matter-of-facty about stuff. I had to just like, while we were sitting here, I just tried to look it up because I kind of want to know where he's from. Do you know? I mean, I guess I don't know.
Well,
I wish I knew where he's from, because sometimes it seems like people like that are just so nice. I'm sorry, everybody on the coasts, and I know because I look at our stats that there are a bunch of you in California, New York, and Ohio. Props to you guys, by the way. See a bunch of you downloading the show. But the Midwest does have that, you know, what everyone calls the Minnesota nice thing going on, and it seemed like he was pretty forthcoming, and obviously you're going to be like, so who dies?
No,
tell me all the shit.
The moment I started asking him a question, he was like, "Hey, Diane, how are you?" It wasn't I mean, obviously that was an over-exaggeration, but it was just like right away he put me at ease, because, you know, I was like nervous that, like, you know, I'd ask whatever stupid questions, and he would be like, you know, super Hollywood, and right away he was just like, "Oh, hi," and, you know, and he started asking me about the weather. But
he's got to be from the Midwest if he asked about the weather.
totally not from the Midwest.
So, you got a rain gauge?
And then was it the price of gas after that?
Slowly moved on to
he was
crops.
empathizing me with the weather in Alberta, Canada. But no, I just think that he was genuine, and I think I think that what makes a really good writer is people who understand people and human nature,
Mm-hmm.
and then they might be able to. They take these human nature and they take these characters, but they can twist them into ways that are obviously, if you really dive into it, they're not believable characters, but we can on the surface believe that these things can happen, and he's doing such a great job with that.
They seem like between, I read your story when it came out, and between a few other things that they've been very adamant about talking about, that Fargo it's not necessarily just a place to them. It's a mindset and I don't want to call it's a feeling.
It's a feeling. It's evocative of a place is what he said.
There you go. That's exactly what they keep talking about.
Well,
I think that, or did they just sit around in a meeting and be like, we got to figure out how to tell people why the show's called Fargo? Because it seems to get a lot of people still, and they're like, why the hell is it called Fargo? I mean, people here are even saying that, hey, so I'm tuning into this show and it's like nothing actually happens here, and it's like, well, no shit, Sherlock.
Maybe it's becoming its own genre. It'll just be the word for a genre of like noir style
anything
films.
Anything filmed in a certain area of the Midwest that features passive aggressive characters who want who just don't know how to tell you to fuck off.
Right.
And it just kind of slowly draws on.
Like our podcast.
Well, it's not often you have the word far and then you have go, and you just are in one title, and automatically when I think of Fargo, because of the movie, I think of this desolate, flat, white surface now that goes and goes and goes and goes because of this. And I think it lived on because the movie is so damn good. And so, I think that lived on because of the movie. I think obviously it was titled that.
Yeah.
He had so much success, but.
So if people want to see that though, they should go to HPR. That's
HPR1.
P as in PBR.
Yes,
HPR
exactly.
numeral 1.com. And if you go there, it should actually be right in the right. It was.
Should.
Or if you click on features,
or click on features.
Click on features. It's there. You should go check that out. It's a great little write up. Talking with Noah Hawley from people who are from here instead of the New York Times. Forget those guys. They don't know what they're doing.
They have no idea.
So we got the shitty car thing going on, which, by the way, the Fargo guys drive a shitty car, too. So it's just like shitty cars, and I've also got a conspiracy theory about the fact that all the license plates have 8 digits. That's freaking me out.
Let's hear it.
Well,
yeah, so we've been noticing that all the license plates on all the vehicles have 8 digits when, in reality, there are 6 in Minnesota.
In both
Dakota.
North Dakota, Minnesota, as well as Calgary. They have 6.
Okay.
I checked. I had to look. But they all have...
Oh, you are becoming quite the license plate pundit.
Wasted way too much time on it today, so I'm going to share it with
Let's hear the theory.
Well, so they all have an I and a Q in there somewhere. For instance, the crappy station wagon is 3924 IQ78. In Duluth, when we see Lauren before... when Gus Grimley first pulls him over at the end of episode 1. I think I'm missing some of the front end of that plate, but it's 628633QI or Q1. I think it's I though. And then the bad,
because that fits your theory.
The bad guys also, I don't know where I wrote it down. There the crime pair's license plate is 3I77Q761. The North Dakota plate they have. So I don't know. I feel like they all have I and Q in there, and all you got to do is rewatch it and push pause, and then get really close to the screen. It's better than scrambled porn.
Maybe it's somebody at the Hollywood jailhouse that makes jailhouse prop license plates.
It's just like, let's screw with people.
Really likes I's and Q's.
Well, IQ, like, some people are really dumb,
Criminals
Some
are
people really smart.
criminals are stupid. Their IQ anyway. So I don't know. Somebody figure that out, or somebody find out. Somebody in production.
Somebody
crew
figure
there.
that out for us.
Figure that out, because I seriously can't lose any more time over my normal work.
Is that the extent of the theory?
That's the extent of my theory.
That's
is
more
that
of
it
an
took me that long to
observation.
look it up, and then I'm like thinking of cryptographic shit, and then I realize I don't have the cipher because I'm too stupid to know it. So there you go, folks. Whoever's listening that wants to nerd out on that, you should do it. So coming full circle to Julianne Emery's hot dish thing. Holy smokes! Or oh heck, did you see how many hot dishes were in episode 2 between Ida's house and what did we find? What did we realize Lester's brother's name was again? Something equally douchey. Chaz.
Oh, Chaz.
Chaz and Kitty.
He looks like a Chaz.
Chaz and Kitty. It's like Gordo.
Chaz and Kitty. Kitty is not a Midwestern name at all. I don't know anyone named Kitty.
Do you know any Chazes?
You know, I
know some
don't actually. But he looks like a Chaz.
I know some Chazes.
You do?
Yeah. I think it's funny that there's siblings where one's named Chaz and one is named Lester. Like two. I mean, those names span generations, right there. You wouldn't think that they would be brothers.
It's a naming self-fulfilling prophecy. You give one kid the Chaz name, and he's just bound to be better than a guy named Lester. You know, right? But there was seriously there was so many hot dishes.
That's one thing.
Yeah, in one shot alone, there were 3 hot dishes. One being scalloped potatoes, I thought. The other 2 were probably green bean casserole and what looked to be goulash. And and then in one shot, there was 3 hot dishes, a beer, and a hockey game, and a picture of Vern. And that was just a fantastic Midwestern shot right there.
It was perfection.
With the hockey going on in the background.
Which also had the random conversation, I don't know, maybe not random, but about the guy who dies from the hailstone. And at the very tail end of it, Molly's only question is, what flavor was it?
Yeah, what flavor was his?
That's definitely
snow
Noah
cone?
channeling a little bit of Coen Brothers humor, that you hear this horrible story about like, being in the head by a softball-sized hailstone.
Mm. So one thing I just got to say is Molly is the one person that it needs to grow on me. And maybe it's because I'm comparing her to
Marge?
Frances McDormand,
Margie,
who I think is just phenomenal. And I know I'm not alone in that. But gosh, I don't know what it is about her. A little bit of the timidness. I mean, because with Marge, there was no timidness about her. I mean, she was obviously a little bit airheady in some ways, and so is Molly.
I think she was just naive a little bit.
Who, Margie or
Marge? Because in the original movie, it took the story of that old high school friend of hers who ended up lying basically to her
to realize
his
that
wife,
yeah,
to realize that hey, people might be fibbing sometimes, which
Watch
then
your
led her on
language,
to
sir.
Jerry Lundegaard,
Fibbing.
going back to Jerry Lundegaard's office.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I sense that same. I definitely don't sense that same naivety in Molly. She seems a little more aggressive to me, but definitely. I mean, there's some similar characteristics, but I think they're also very different.
They are different.
I think they have to make them slightly different, because if they push,
Naturally,
I totally know what
right,
you mean, because I
naturally.
kind of see it, and I think it's also a good slight character study in like how people get along with each other. Even though she's clearly doing the right thing, she just can't get to where it is because she can't.
She's obviously a good character.
She can't like just buckle down and just say to the new Bill Oswalt and just say, "Listen here, fuckstick."
Yeah, that was one thing that Noah Hawley just said is like it takes these Midwestern characters 50 words to say one word,
Yeah.
And that was interesting.
And how many of those are
yes, lots of
I was,
or they stutter quite a bit.
Yeah, that happens. So I don't know. I think I have to admit, every time I think about her name, and the last name is Solverson, I'm like, really? She's gonna if she solves the crime, if she's the lead, I'm like, come on, Noah. Did you really just name her Solverson? Or if her middle name is Crime, Molly Crime Solverson.
Also, one thing that got me is at one point she sounded like she was. I don't think she's nailed the accent yet. At sometimes she sounds like she's Irish. There was one time
I thought
was just
that
like,
too.
Oh my God, you sound blatantly Irish. I'm like, whoa, you need to work on that.
I had to back it up for a second one time, and I should have marked that as a clip, but I thought the exact same thing. I thought it was sounding a little bit Irish.
Like, how does Irish? Yeah.
She Allison Tolman's from Chicago, so I would venture to say that's. I think it would be harder to pull off an accent so adjacent to you in terms of your actual regional dialect than it would be to because it's so much easier to slip in and out of your actual, because that makes me wonder if, from hearing her a little bit on a few things, if that's just her naturally sliding into that, Chicago kind of.
But you're also dealing with Martin Freeman, he's from.
Yeah, but that's the point, is that he's going so far away from it.
Oh, sure.
That it's like slipping off. Those two trains are parallel to each other in terms of what they're doing. That it's impossible.
So you know exactly when you slip up.
You're just like, whoops!
You know exactly.
Oh my God! I just called the trunk a bonnet, or whatever, or the hood. Anyway, I know what you mean, though. I think people are going to take a little time to grow on her, and I don't think that has anything to do with her as an actor. I think it's written that way. A little bit, that you just don't.
Oh, I really think it might be a little bit of her acting, and maybe
there's so many characters in there though right now with the cast that they have, that it's like somebody's gonna have to be at the ass end of that, and everybody already loves Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk.
Yep.
Everybody loves Tom Hanks because his dad was in Bachelor Party.
Colin
everybody, you just look at the guy and you fucking like him just because you see his dad. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. I mean, I genuinely like Colin Hanks. And and then you get Martin Freeman, who you're just okay.
Immediately sold, yes.
You're like, I've seen 30 seconds of Sherlock. I like him, and it's just and Keith Carradine. I mean, you can just go down the list for all these people. So I do think Allison Tolman, she definitely has her work cut out for her. But I think that if they've carefully crafted the cast as well as they have, I don't think she's an accident. Whether she's pulling it off, that's obviously debatable. I'm there, not completely. I got a foot in the door.
Well, I think you could be right, but I think without a doubt she's the weakest character.
Yeah.
But that's obviously my opinion.
Not Kitty.
That's just your opinion, man.
It's my opinion, and I can say what I want.
Yeah. How un-Fargo of you.
And again, it's because like I before I watched the movie or the television show, I had to recap the movie, and I was like, watch it over again. And Margie and Frances McDormand, every scene, I'm like, oh my God, you're incredible.
She's super good.
Oh,
she's wicked. She's wicked awesome. Good. Okay, so Lester goes to his house too, and he goes up into her room and gets all sniffy. He's like panty sniffing up there or something, and gets weepy in the closet. And the sign is right there outside the closet that says everything happens for a reason. And then he kind of does
laden with signage and messages all over.
I know, it's everywhere
surrounding Lester.
You know what? Do you think they're crocodile tears? Get it? Fuck, I'm gonna edit that out.
You're trying. I think that should stay though.
Yeah, I could. But then they come to his house and they just badger him over grape juice. And Hubba Bubba. We finally figured out why we talked about that in the first episode. We're like, why are they saying Hubba Bubba? Turns out it was all about gum. I didn't even think of that.
Bubba.
So,
which I think is, and you put it pretty well, is that they're using the Hubba Bubba to just further iterate how far back they go.
Yeah, they've got Lester a long-term buddy thing going on. Like, I know the guy, he got picked on. His life sucked. Sorry, Sam Hess. Sorry about the knife in your head.
And the Hubba Bubba is just a symbol of that.
Yeah, just to look how far back we go. At least we think
Plus,
so.
I like to say Hubba Bubba.
Hubba Bubba?
Hubba Bubba. I'm still not sure if that's Midwestern, but
I don't know if it is either, but it's childhood.
It's childhood. It's weird dialogue, and that's what the show is really going for.
Because I don't think they were going to say Big League Chew.
Yeah, I was more of a Big League Chew guy.
Right.
Big League Chew and Fruit by the Foot. Hubba Bubba, I wasn't into that.
I was into
Hubba Bubba, you are not my friend of mine.
Oh my God.
Especially grape.
God.
Give me the Fruit by the Foot and the Big League Chew and some Sunny D.
So speaking of strong characters,
Sunny D.
let's just go ahead and do this.
Yes, please.
Morning, young fella.
You have a package for me?
Alrighty, what's your name?
Why?
So I can find the package.
Duluth.
I'm sorry?
The package is addressed to Duluth.
That's a city. I need your name.
I told you my name.
Lights are obviously illegal in this place.
Well, I'll need to see some ID.
No.
What?
You heard me.
Well, I can't give you your mail if you don't show ID.
Sure you can. All you gotta do
God,
is look
his
for those
haircut is
packages
so
over there, find the one
ridiculous.
addressed to Duluth, and then hand it to me.
Look, son, we're in Duluth, so technically all the mail is addressed to Duluth.
Am I gonna need to come back there and find it myself?
Sir?
I've seriously been to
Okay.
post offices like this out in the country.
Kind of scary. I feel like it's a gymnasium he's walking through to like
This
go
is
into
highly
a
irregular.
mailroom. It's kind of
No,
odd.
highly irregular is the time I found a human
I
foot
feel like
in a
it's
toaster
a
oven.
gymnasium and it's a kitchen.
This is just odd.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's church
Probably
basement.
is.
It's a church basement post office.
It's a church basement post.
So yeah. So that's the story there. Everybody loves the human foot toaster
Yeah,
comment.
if the camera pans over, there's just going to be trays of ham buns and old ladies drinking coffee out of a percolator.
Maybe some egg salad sandwiches and some sort of pickle relish.
They're playing bridge.
And
Briggs, King's Corner.
And what is the deal with church basement shit like that? Why is the lemonade always feel like they just shorted it one scoop? You know what I mean? Like they're like, well, if you just don't do one more scoop, it'll last you like an extra month.
Well, they don't want to
Plus,
get all
it's
hopped
the
up before
accent.
your
We're
afternoon
dropping,
nap.
well, they're dropping like flies over there at First Lutheran.
Oh, I always taste with the back, taste in the back of the throat. That's why I always have avoided Midwestern lemonade because it's always just stays back there.
It's
just
bad,
sticks.
bad stuff. But
Yeah.
So Lauren's a minister, and then I love his little like gesture of the sign of the cross, where he does one nice gesture to the male guy who he's harassed, but then on his way out, he's got to just be a dick for a minute. And he's like, "Missed a spot."
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Well, right now feels like let's do a quick sponsor break so that we can make sure we give, speaking of blessing, give thanks to those who help make Fargo Talks Fargo happen. Diane is now blessing me with her hands. She approves this message. So this week, as every week, is brought to you by Tag. Tag celebrates the True Fargo community with True Fargo swag. What do we mean? It's made here. It's designed here. They've got all sorts of really awesome stuff. We've talked about the Fargo Theater shirt. We've talked about, there's a shirt with a nice bison on it. There's shirts that say, I'd frack that. So depending on how you feel about oil fracking in our state, you can either support it or not support it, or just see if you can get a cute girl to talk to you at a bar. But you can get T-shirts,
Is that
art,
your strategy now?
art and more. No, that's not my strategy. My wife, she doesn't like those shirts. But you can get T-shirts, art, and all sorts of stuff, and they've got glasses. They're all available online to purchase anytime. What you got to do is you got to go to tagfargo.com. That's T-A-G, as in tag you're it, tagfargo.com, and check them out. Buy a shirt, maybe two, and then find their email on there and send them a message that says, I heard about you guys on Fargo Talks Fargo. And if you forget this, you can always go to fargotalksfargo.com and find us in every episode in the sponsor links. Boom.
Boom.
Chakalaka.
So,
Continuing on.
Phoenix Farms.
Yes, we meet Stavros Milos. How do you say that?
Or is it Milos Stavros?
Yeah, Milos Stavros.
Is it? We were doing really bad. We were just calling people by their like real names. Stavros Milos. Let's go with that. I'll look it up. You talk.
Yeah, so we're meeting the supermarket king of the Midwest, or future supermarket king of the Midwest, as soon as he enters the Dakotas and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What a fantastic scene this is. Just this whole setup is So enjoyable. You've got the supermarket kingpin, almost, not artistically the same, but reminded me a little bit of Big Love, with the hardware store, and just sort of the mafia kind of tones. But you have the supermarket kingpin in his office with the butcher shop in the background. Not sure if that's foreshadowing or symbolism in any way, but artistically,
or if it just looks cool.
Yeah, or if it just looks awesome. I don't know why you'd want to see that in your office all day long, but it looks cool for the shots. And what?
Are you kidding me? I mean, we love our meat in Fargo.
Yeah, that's for
and
sure.
North Dakota and Minnesota. Boom.
You got to eat
so
beef.
he's in the office. I mean,
because the West wasn't one on salad.
He's got a very Ron Burgundy office too. Everything's made of rich mahogany. He has many leather-bound books.
Methy.
And
Except it's dark.
And there's the dog on the couch behind Lauren, and then on top of it, there's a bust of the dog on his desk. So I'm guessing,
and it's on the book cover. His dog's on the book cover.
And I'm guessing this is why his marriage doesn't work out. Besides the fact that he's Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago. He's Stavros Milos, the grocery store king of Bemidji.
Again, it's because he thinks he's some sort of king and he owns a freaking grocery store. God, do you really need a football dude that's 60 years old?
Hey, he's got mangoes in January. Nobody else has mangoes in January.
You leave Semenko out of this. The fire hydrant. Who's wearing who evidently just sold a house because he's got his red jacket on or what is it? The gold blazer? Shit, I don't know. Bold choice though.
Yes, no, we don't in Fargo in the Midwest. We don't own Wall Street or are the king of hotels. We are the king of grocery stores.
Yeah.
Amen.
Here's a plug for Hornbachers. Boom. The best of fresh.
Oh, they are the best of fresh.
They got that plug for free.
I love Hornbachers.
The next one will cost.
So obviously, Stavros has got a problem.
Yeah, so this is the whole reason why Lorne, or whatever he's calling himself, Frank, is now in Duluth. Because of their mutual friend has connected the two.
The realty company has shipped him to, right?
Yep. So the realty company has shipped Duluth, a.k.a. Lorne, a.k.a. Frank, to Milos' office, where he's got a little dilemma on his hands. Somebody has sent him...
Oop, my bad.
There we go.
Keep going.
Let's hear it.
I'll edit that out. So here's that scene.
Found this on my windshield last week.
What does this mean I know about the money?
What it means don't matter. It's blackmail. I didn't bring you here for what it means. I brought you here to make it stop. Semenko said don't do it. He said, let me handle it. But you don't get to be La Mercado Rey without knowing when to delegate. Comprende?
It's a pretty specific number, $43,613.
Hell, maybe he wants to pay off his student loans.
Definitely isn't an accident that crown is right over his head.
Got a good one for you.
Oh, right in the
sorry.
background.
Don't you know closed door means keep out, boy? Or at least knock for shit's sake?
You'll like this. What's a karate expert's favorite beverage? Karate. Get it? Karate. It's tea.
Son, get the hell out.
Yeah.
That Dimitri, he's special.
What does that number mean? We'll have to figure that out.
$43,613.
Yeah, it'll come to light somewhere.
Yeah, so...
It'll come to light a lot sooner than the license plate shit I'm dealing with.
To me, I feel like it's probably just a freaking number, and they're on like that.
The makers of the show are like, these guys are taking this way too far. Those were the prop license plates on top of the pile, and they just all happen to have an I in a Q. And they have an I just so that they can fit 8 characters on a license plate that usually only has 6.
Yeah. So our guy, coming to, so there's the crappy cars bad guys got to drive, or late model cars.
And maybe it's because they have such spacious trunks.
That could be it. It's really hard to get somebody in the back of like a Toyota Celica. It's real. I think you're on it. That's the deal. It's you need a body-sized car, body-sized trunk, and you can't just.
You could rent those out in a big city. Heck,
But
you
they
could take them to
just, find,
Tokyo
like a
and
new Grand Marquis
sell them as
or
a
something?
mansion.
I don't know.
Body-sized trunk. That's going to be the name of my new band.
And you also have to have a dim-witted son or sons, right? So we got Dimitri, the Hess boys. I don't know if we can call Gordo dim-witted because he's got the autism, as
Gordo.
they say.
Is Gordo the one with the best?
No, Gordo is Chaz and Kitty's son who pees in the jar. We'll come around to that story later
yes,
too.
okay.
Jeez.
I'm getting confused.
I also like how that ends with the Frank Peterson. Thanks for nailing my blackmailer, which I think also has a double meaning because he thinks it's his wife. Nail it? Mean like kill her, or like Sam Hess style nailer? Not with a knife.
It's a good quote.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you? Any other thoughts on that, or should we just leave it at the grocery store?
I think we can
Midwest.
definitely assume that there'll be some nailing going on there, but I don't know if that's really in his personality. He seems very Lawrence seems pretty asexual to me.
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's gonna bang chicks like in
the movie,
like those dudes when they
the little one who's
Steve
circumcised.
Buscemi. That's what I'm thinking. Yes,
The little guy.
the little guy.
There was a reference to the little one in the kitchen scene.
That was
back
awesome.
too. When they were talking right after the hailstone incident. Sorry to double back, but so then we cut to Duluth and we finally kind of hook back up again with Gus Grimley. Right? Isn't that what happens next?
Let's see.
I mean, because this is the scene where they kind of show us a little bit more about Gus. I feel like, I think they're giving him this with him letting Lauren walk away with his crocodile's dilemma and his daughter, and he's checking in on this dog. He's what seems to be a stray dog, and he can't even catch the stray dog. And eventually it cuts to the dog with his head out the window, which kind of tells me that he's got this, there's something soft about him, not in a bad way. Like, all right, man, Pooch, just get in the back seat. I'll roll the window down for you. Let's go.
He's definitely a softie. There's no doubt about that.
And that was his police work for the day.
Yeah.
That was like the total, outside of the staff meeting, the morning roll.
Gus Grimley. He's not the brightest in the bunch.
Or
by
we don't know.
any
Maybe he
means.
will be.
I don't think so. He seems like he's a little bit dim in the head at times. But you also want to like him because he's nice and he cares about his daughter. How can you not like someone that cares about his daughter?
Well, he cares so much that instead of giving her an iPhone, he gave her a CB radio.
See, exactly.
I'm sure you guys had that experience when you were doing homework.
Because his daughter was special. That's another reason why we like Gus Grimley is because his daughter is not a typical daughter. You don't communicate.
She's chatty. They have a nice relationship, and he's got a naughty neighbor who likes to undress in front of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I hope that's a rent-controlled place. Stick around for that.
That is Fargo's way of throwing in sex because you know what? You need drugs, you need violence, and you need sex.
Yes.
In every show, just like they did when what's his face was screwing that chick and got a knife to his neck.
Oh yeah, big guy.
Oh my God. It was so funny to watch, to hear the people laugh when she was going, oh yeah, yeah.
It's a big deal here. We're pretty repressed people.
That was, I think that lady that was getting fucked had the best accent of everyone in the show.
I think that was a huge. That's a
good.
huge toss back to the two girls in the bar.
Oh my God,
the
they were my favorite.
But Gus and his daughter do have that whole conversation where I think they revisit the crocodile's dilemma, where she talks about the bully and what to do about it, and how do you react to that, and even brings up the topic of having a knife, which is I think it's almost too neatly wound for me, but it's still there. He seems to have like a moment where he's explaining to her, but really to himself, that sometimes you got to do the right thing for your own reasons. And he says something, sometimes there's more than one right thing, is what he tells her. And I think the minute Lauren said, how old's your kid, the game totally changed for him at the end of episode 1. And
his other role, his more important role, sort of took ownership of the situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's the opposite of some people. He's family first, work second, and I think a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of people who aren't that way, and I think he's just softer like that. And I may be wrong. I may find out in the future that I'm wrong. But
and you know what? That pulls at America's heartstrings right there. People will put family first before
loving dad,
and you should though. And in technical terms, I mean, principally, it's better to put family first before your work.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how we deduce that he's a good guy. There's like absolute, without question, that Colin Hanks is a good guy.
Yeah.
And Gus Grimley. So how could you not be a good guy and be Tom Hanks's son? I mean,
yeah. See, we just love him here ever since he stopped for biscuits and gravy in West Fargo.
I know, biscuits and gravy in West Fargo. I'm so sad I wasn't the owner of that place because I love Tom Hanks.
So Gus, we get that little peek into Gus and why he kind of apparently pussed out. I'm going to call it the night. Oh yeah, it was the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Dun dun dun. Something's going to happen. There's no way because Lauren's still in Duluth. He's still got business, and I'm also hoping that they'll at some point at least just give us a peek as to why there's no mother. Hopefully, it's not the lady who lives across the way and undressing in front of the window. That's just
that'd be weird.
Right?
Maybe they're playing some sort of weird game. You go over there and hang with that family, and it's big love. Wait, it's an across the street polygamous relationship happening in Duluth, Minnesota.
It's the mind games that I think that
nothing in Tilt Town is straight.
Gus Grimley, Lester Nygaard, all of them are so subject to mind games, and just seeing a woman across the street that's getting undressed is gonna freaking play mind games with them so badly. So.
Yeah. So we get back to Sharpie, you were gonna say something?
Nope. I was just gonna continue on with the Fargo crime syndicate coming back into play.
I feel like they need like a theme song.
I don't know what it would be.
Star Wars, Darth Vader kind of shit. Because they're on such a mission to find Lauren.
Yeah, like
Malvo,
the deaf mute guy is Chewbacca.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh. And are they really doing real sign language? I know a few people have wondered about that. Are they doing like actual ASL? Like, are they doing American Sign Language? Because there's one point where he talks about the strip club in the very opening, and I'm gesturing with my hands right now that one person is riding another. So I imagine how I would do that with fingers.
Hey man,
and I was
that's
like,
how you
is
gotta
that
sign.
part of ASL?
How else would you sign that?
I don't know. Maybe you make a hole with your one hands and then put your finger in the other one. Like asshole symbol.
All I know is I questioned it from the very beginning. Is this real sign language? As soon as I saw them doing sign language, I'm like,
And it's like this is the only time I've been like, man, I don't have a deaf friend.
Yeah, I couldn't just lean over and be like, hey, do you know sign language?
Do you know about this?
Well, maybe we can fly in a sign language
expert. Because they mentioned the cutthroat industry of the trucking business.
I loved that line. I wrote that down.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, I could find it here.
Was that Ida or Molly who was it? That's
right at 8 minutes and 45 seconds into the show.
But you don't remember if it was Ida who said it? Because she
it was Bob.
Conversation.
Because he was covering for Lester, and he was like, "Yeah, you got to believe this about that cutthroat world of regional trucking." It's got to be that. It's got to be the cutthroat world of regional trucking.
That's another thing. Is like I've already heard people be like, "That is not how we talk." Already, I've already heard just from the first episode. People are like, "Are you kidding me? Nobody says that." Nobody's gonna say the regional world of cutthroat talking. Obviously, it's an over exaggeration. It's entertainment value.
Everybody knows regional trucking is highly competitive.
Yeah.
And people will kill.
There is a whole lot of shit.
I don't.
Riley transferred just north of town here. I mean, they're taking over out on County Route 20.
They got a big operation up there.
I'm being serious. They have a huge operation up there. Diane Diane grew up in South Fargo. They didn't go up there and drink on the side roads.
Oh, I went to the Flying J. What are you talking about?
No, that's
many
south.
times.
No, I'm talking about the transfer station up north here.
Oh, okay.
Huge for real.
Yeah.
Like, huge truck
real cutthroat, huh?
There. Yeah, cutthroat. Oh, there's bodies in the ditches every week.
Oh, scary.
So anyway, the crime syndicate is back on the job.
Yep.
And is back at the strip club.
Where they mistakenly get led to Lauren's doppelganger. As if like
Yes,
the most odd-looking man has a doppelganger in Bemidji. You have
two equally shitty haircuts.
Yeah, two equally
in
shitty
such close
haircuts.
proximity to each other.
It just happened to work out. Len, I believe. His name was even close. Len.
And he happens to carry a knife. This guy is he's about to have the most fucking horrid day.
The second he started stroking that knife, I was looking forward to seeing his demise.
Yeah. So what we've actually learned for the most part, with the exception of Vern, the sheriff deputy guy dying, is that if you're a douche and you encounter any of these people, you dead next.
You dead next.
Right? And doppelganger Lauren, douche, dead. Lester's wife, pretty douchey.
In
dead.
such an incredible way.
Sam Hess,
Incredible
huge
death.
douche, dead. I'm just going to go ahead and assume frozen panties guy, and they keep calling him panties, which is driving me insane. Just call it fucking underwear. I can only assume that he was a douche, and now he's dead. Dead.
I love the word panties.
Panties.
It's so good.
Oh God. It's so anyway. So they're onto this, and even though they don't think it's him, by that point, you've been accosted and stuffed in a trunk. You show him the thing. Nah, that's not him. Well, now what are you gonna do?
You can't just let him loose.
No, you can't.
Down the hole.
So, perfect time, for a sponsor break, in my opinion.
All right. I'll take this one.
Yeah.
This week's episode of Fargo Talks Fargo is also brought to you in part by Fargo Brewing Company's Wood Chipper IPA. It's awesome.
It's so
shortest
good, y'all.
copy Matt's ever written.
I'm getting pretty handy with the words there. No, big thanks to Fargo Brewing Company. They were very supportive in our request to have them sponsor the show. We really appreciate it. Wouldn't be possible without them. If you are in the region, in the vicinity of Fargo Brewing Company's reach, check them out. And they have all kinds of awesome beers. Iron Horse Pale Ale is hitting the shelves. Wood Chipper IPA, obviously. Sodbuster Porter. All kinds of good stuff. There's also a brewery in Fargo that you can go check out the tap room. Just check out fargobrewing.com and you can get the hours and more information.
Yeah, you can find out where you can find them. Yep. They're pretty much all over North Dakota, all the way out to St. Cloud now, too. And they've got some other things on the forefront, so keep an eye out for them. And they also do air the show in their tap room on Tuesday nights on the TV. I can't speak to if it's loud or not loud in there, because, not everybody's always there to watch. And I think they also run a special where it's like a $1 off wood chippers.
Yeah, $3 pints of wood chipper every Tuesday night while they're playing the show. So check that out.
I think it starts at 4 o'clock, actually. So
does it?
Stop out there and do that. So thanks to Fargo Brewing. Check them out at fargobrewing.com.
Thank you very much.
By the way, have they sent a case of wood chipper out to the FX crew yet?
I wonder.
If it hasn't, let me plant that seed in their minds that they should.
That would be
if that's
great.
possible.
I know
they're done, though.
What's that?
I know they're still doing ADR. I saw Colin Hanks posted on Facebook. He's doing some ADR now.
Well, even if they're done, they should still stand in their way nonetheless.
Break the law. Send the beer.
Send the beer. Boom.
So,
speaking of breaking the law.
So it's doppelganger Lauren, whose name is Learn or Len or Lauren. Everything about the guy is tragic. It's not him. And now we're with so we finally meet oh crap, I just forgot his name. Glenn Howerton's character, who's the trainer of Milos' wife.
And speaking of names
or
like
Stavros' wife.
Salverson and what have you, his last name is Chump.
Is it really? No, it's Chumph.
Yeah, but it's like a PH.
There's a PH. I love these names. These are like, this is so great.
They're over the top.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, over the top.
And then the comment she makes that her ex-husband's hands smell like feet. Gross.
I just smelt it.
So
Just
that's
smelt it, you saying that.
when Lauren and Chumph have a little handshake.
Yep.
And he gets the early trailers line of what was the line, Sharpie? I just bronzed.
Just a little bronzer.
A little bronzer.
Yeah, the transfer
Rubs off
of
on
the
Lauren.
bronzer. And I know in the hot dish I was talking about, I thought I saw blood on his hand, but that was obviously the bronzer.
Yeah.
We double checked.
The beer,
it wasn't
the $3 wood
it
chippers
wasn't
were
blood.
affecting your judgment.
And it wasn't, yeah, I think that's the case. It wasn't blood and it wasn't V8. It could have still been V8.
Yeah, we had a little rant on the hot dish last night about V8, but that's okay. That's what we do.
I've never tried one, but I deduce that they're disgusting.
Just a
They
little
are.
vodka
Are
and
they?
some celery
It's
and
vegetable juice.
Worcestershire.
Mmm.
And then Dimitri shows up back home and gives his mom the grossest breasty hug ever with his face and his mom's boobs. After she's been working out, by the way.
Again, sex right there.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's what
That's
every
his-
television.
But what a save by Lauren. The second Dimitri comes in and Dimitri recognizes Lauren or Frank Peterson.
Frank, yeah.
And immediately puts a halt to the situation by that joke right off the cuff. What control he had over that situation, because he did not want that conversation to go any further, that he was in Milos's office.
Yeah, he basically did the whole, yeah, we've met, and let's just plow right through to something
Yep.
else. Like, hey, look, a butterfly
Yep.
for Dimitri.
Hey, shiny.
Shiny Penny.
Again, yeah, it's him like knowing exactly what to do always. That's what makes him so damn intriguing.
Yeah.
And makes us, even though we
Calm
like
down
him,
over there,
we know
Diane.
we're not
Holy
supposed to
cow.
like him.
Oh, jeez. I
Are you
knocked him
telling
over.
me? That's why we want to like him and like watch him his every second, from the way he turns his head.
It's a TV thing now, though. It's the same. I think it's the same reason people have like this strange. I like Don Draper. The guy's a dick. He's
God,
not
he's
cool, but he's
terrible.
just. But at the same time, he's entirely mesmerizing. And Bryan Cranston,
Absolutely.
gets all Heisenberg, and
Mhm.
yet you're still just like, oh, I can't stop watching you. And yeah, you're right. You get the same thing out of Billy Bob, and
Mhm.
I'm going to say this. When I heard about him cast as that, I was like, damn it.
Really?
A little bit. I don't know. I hadn't seen a movie or him in anything of a certain note that I was like, yes, since like Sling Blade. For me, I mean, I know there's been stuff. I just nothing that like stuck.
Not even
like-
Monsters Ball.
Mhm.
Okay, that was
I think Bill watches that
good.
daily.
I totally zoned that out. That was really.
He has all the
good.
best
Okay,
parts.
So there's that.
Cut up.
Sometimes I
Edited
just have sometimes that whole like tabloid thing about him just like blew everything out of the water, and then his band and whatever. But
Mhm.
he really, I still think, is just nailing this for a guy who's not particularly imposing or Don Draper sexy. He's really he's doing a really good job of owning the scenes he's in.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not drawn Don Draper sexy from a women's perspective. Fuck. No. Gross. His haircut. I mean, he's got a little bit of charm to him, but god damn it.
Don.
That haircut.
But he's a
Holy
man. He's
shit,
a
what the
man who's got
hell?
some sort of like wannabe dictaphone though. He's recording his phone calls
Yeah.
with his phone call with Lester
What is that all about? And on tape, nonetheless.
on a really big tape recorder. I'm like, bro, it's 2006. And then I thought, oh, I know why.
Because he's onto the NSA.
No, he's no. You know why it's that big? Because that's what he found in the trunk of his completely outdated car that bodies fit in.
His cutlass. Or whatever. What I don't know what it was.
His Pontiac,
His Pontiac, okay.
station
He
wagon
needs
had that
that
in there, and
Pontiac
that's all that was like left.
For bodies and old school recording equipment. He's probably got a reel-to-reel in there.
But he's got like nice, somewhat modern earbuds in. Like nobody ever showed him the tiny tape.
Mm.
Either way, so he's listening to that. They give us the connect the dots scene where he realizes the bronzer from his hand, from his nasty handshake, is also on the back of the ransom note, right?
That's right. Yeah, it did not.
Which isn't also blood, like Sharpie thought. I just want to point out how wrong he was last night.
Yeah, and
Definitely
and
not
for
blood.
those who might have thought that the bronzer rubbed off, which transferred, it's basically an STD. It's now transferred from the chump to Lorne. It did not transfer to the note. It was actually on the note before Lorne touched it. So just an FYI, when Milos hands the note over to Lorne, the bronzer is on there before Lorne touches it. So it didn't come from Lorne at all.
Nope, it was there in scene 1, like the minute that note showed up.
Absolutely.
He's interrupted by Semenko, the fire hydrant, who's obviously got his own stake in the deal and tells him, give it the onions, get out of town, take a hike, don't turn around.
So do you think then the Semenko and Chump are cohorts? Or do you think one of them's lying?
I can't decide if they're cohorts or if Semenko is pissed that he's not top dog.
Right, that somebody else has been taken in to clean up.
I mean, Semenko, as that scene where he's got the red coat and he's obviously the
He's
guardian
the henchman.
of the
He's
grocery
Milos'
store kingdom. Henchman. Man.
The henchman. Yes.
I can't decide if he's just a big dog who just wants to piss on somebody to mark territory, or if he's somehow connected. I'm going with the former, that he's just marking territory. I don't know if Diane's got any. I think it's just too early to tell. Yeah.
They want to have this big dog character, and he's such a character in his own. To sit in the chair, I keep thinking of Big Lebowski, and I haven't seen that movie in ages, but I keep thinking of Big Lebowski for whatever reason. This head honcho guy with slick hair who completely does not belong in the Midwest. This is so not a Midwest thing. Can we just please put that out there right now?
I don't know.
To
He
have
looks
like
a little bit
grocery?
like an All-American football player, though.
He does.
He does look like he's corn-fed.
You're thinking about
Stavros or
okay,
Simcoe?
I'm getting the two mixed up. Simcoe, is that the football player?
Yeah, the henchman.
All right, so the henchman.
The fire hydrant.
Well, yes, the fire
The red
hydrant.
coat.
No, he looks New York to me.
Yeah,
The red coat looks totally New York to me.
He's not from here.
No, absolutely
Very obviously
not.
brought in man.
I don't know. He looks
Completely
pretty
brought in,
corn-fed
man.
Midwestern to me.
I bet he's from Kansas.
He looks like
that's
he's
the Midwest.
either from Kansas or from the South. Come on, look at that face. I mean, yeah, you could have someone that looks like that, but he's too intense.
It's a square on a brick.
I guess just the pair who I'm like blanking on names right now. The grocery store owner and the team between the two. They're totally not Midwestern by any means, but they add enough to it.
I would pay a fair amount of money to gather the entire Fargo theater crowd from last week together again, just to watch / hear their response of Lauren to Simcoe / fire hydrants. Get the F out of town. What does Lauren decide to do to tell him how much he cares about what he's telling him to do? He drops trow, hangs a growler, drops the deuce with a very audible plop.
It was a good plop. We get that plop and we get those ham sounds, and we're building quite the library.
Somebody would ask me something how I felt about it, and I wish I just had a ready toilet available.
It was such a beautiful moment. Again, it was such a beautiful moment, and that's why these characters work so well, and we want to just stare at them forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
It's because they can do shit like that. Because we ourselves wish we can do something like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I wish I could just have a conversation.
Maybe that's the
take a
allure
shit
of those
with someone.
characters.
Someone who's like supposed to be like, who I'm supposed to be intimidated by, I'm just all of a sudden be like, hey, guess what? I'm going to take a shit in front of you.
Right as Semenko's saying, pack your shit and leave, it plops.
He's like, I'm gonna pack.
I'm gonna leave my shit right here,
and flush it,
and I'm not gonna leave.
Molly and Bill have another confrontation. We don't need to go play by play here, but I have to admit, I'm still concerned about Lester's desire to keep going back to his house and mess with things. He goes back, finally goes to the basement to check on his precious, Which, yeah, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go with the Hobbit thing where he's like, let me check on my thing. And he's like, pulls out the hammer and checks it out again. And I'm like, dude, why does this thing even still exist?
I know.
Like, you've been alone for a while. You've obviously been driving back and forth between your house and Chaz's and the drugstore for your bullet wound that is obviously some sort of itchiness for your guilt / I'm going to get caught / worry /
I read a blog post that was calling the bullet wound the seed of the devil that's been implanted into Lester. Just going like super deep with that.
The seed of the devil. What did he do? Have sex at a Slayer concert in 1988?
The seed of the devil
Wasn't
in
that
his
an
freaking
album?
palm? No. That's a little too.
So you're saying you're not buying it, Sharpie?
Well, I'm just saying that's
Maybe he is.
an interesting way of putting it. But yeah, it is just like this constant, it's the itching, the heel, the itch of the heel that's just constantly nagging at him and pulling at his guilt or transforming him. See, I'm going just as deep now, so.
Just thinking.
Well, it's, and you just look down. A lot of times you see your hands. It's like the first thing you see, and like automatically, boom, it's there.
Yeah, it's this constant reminder for him, at least right now. And Molly just is very un-Midwest about it. She's tenacious about it and at like just relentlessly tracking him down to keep asking him questions because she just doesn't understand all the way to the drugstore. And then we cut to her at her dad's, Lou's, where everything is a mallard, by the way, with the exception of one pheasant on the wall.
Yep. A throwback to perhaps Norm's stamp paintings.
Stamp dilemma, yeah. There's a nice, actually, that Keith Carradine scene is pretty great where he goes on talking about her going under anesthesia and having drills and stuff happening to her. And I just love how it ends where she says, "You talk a lot. You know that?"
And that's that.
That was pretty good. So where do we think we're going to go? I mean, we could talk about all sorts of stuff about the fact that Lester sniffed the pea jar and
60-ounce draft specials are on at Lou's.
Yeah, and everything on the menu at Lou's is pretty much chicken, but...
Well, I mean, gosh, yeah, that Allison Tolman, she's definitely the good lady in this. And you a lot of it's going to unfold is what is she going to find out? How far is she going to take? How far is she going to go against Bill's orders not to mess with Bill?
I think she looked up to Vern too much to not scratch that itch.
She is. It's so burning inside her. You can just tell that it's so obvious that she wants to keep going with the investigation, that she knows deep inside her heart, even though she's not supposed to, and she's Midwestern nice, that she wants to because she's looking out, because she has a good she is such a good person, like such a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
We know that about her.
Speaking of 50 words where you could use 10, when Bill comes in to yell at her about like pestering Lester, Lester the pester. He comes in and he just is like a stuttering mess and just can't. What he should zip out of his mouth is, "Hey, lay off, or I'll can you or put you on desk duty for a year. All right, capiche? Done." But instead, it's just like completely. I made a decision. It's that's another
decision. You see, and now that's my decision now. So
yeah.
So do you?
It was always making me think of Jerry Lundegaard with that. I'm working with you here.
Yes, exactly. I'm working with you. That's exactly what I think of it.
She drills it into his head, so she's obviously going to go rogue.
Yep.
Well, God, she is innocent and she's such a good person, but she is smart. She is smart, and you know that about her. But it's like she's way too humble to show it. I think is what they're getting across. Is like she is actually very bright, but she doesn't want to come across as too proud or like come across as this bossy, as this woman like who can take charge. So she very much deep knows it in her heart that even just it's so freaking obvious with like how every conversation she has with him, Lester is nervous.
Yeah.
Lester wouldn't be as nervous and jittery in these conversations with Allison if he was telling the truth, and she knows that deep down inside. and that's why she is so adamant about keeping going.
Yeah.
And knowing deep down in her heart, maybe not having the hard evidence yet, but at least having it in her heart and knowing deep down inside and being this good person that she is, that she has to keep going with it, even though she has to defy the authority.
I have to wonder. So let's do some. Oh wait, we have to wrap one last thing off. Ice hole. We finally found out one of the people, at least we think, got shoved in the ice hole was
Lynn.
Fake
Lauren.
doppelganger Lauren, which that was just creepy scene.
They just
the music, we found the artist, and we'll put a link to that artist because Spin actually posted today, which is Wednesday after the show, the link to the artist. That's an old song, but I mean, just everything about that scene is just creepy. There's just, do you notice they don't talk? I mean, I know the one guy's deaf, so, and he obviously doesn't talk, but the point is they just barely even gesture to each other. They smack him in the face, drag him out on the ice, auger a pretty sizable hole, and he's still alive, and they just
dunked him right in.
Dunk him like dipping sauce.
Yep.
And don't look back. And my only thought was, in Minnesota, there would be way more ice houses on that lake, even if there was only 2 fish. Sharpie disagrees
There's
with me.
a lot of lakes in Minnesota.
Whatever.
I don't know. You could find one.
There's a ton of them. Land of 10,000 lakes.
They found the one that's surrounded by mountains that nobody's seen yet and discovered.
Mountains that aren't really mountains, but for us it is, and we talked about that on the hot dish. So here's where we're gonna get into. So what do you think's gonna happen next week? And I feel like we almost have to excuse Diane from this segment of the show because Diane actually did have more episodes. She's seen more episodes than we did because FX provided the first 4.
First 4, yes.
Yeah, so we've kind of got a thing that's like an unofficial part of the show so far called Who Dead Next.
We saw the the hashtag started. Hashtag Who Dead Next.
Finally said they were kind of like, what? So
Marcus
let's do this. Let's start
Fargo. Shout out to you. At Marcus _Fargo.
So those who are listening and on Twitter, follow us at Fargo Talks Fargo and hashtag this. We usually don't do a lot of hashtags here, but let's do this just to see if some people come up with something. If they don't, we'll just gloss over it next week like it didn't matter. But hashtag Who Dead Next, because that's such a Fargo way to say things. Is he gonna die? So Sharpie, who do you think? Who dead next?
Hashtag Who Dead Next. My call is Don Chump be dead next. The personal trainer.
You think so? You think Glenn Howerton's going to have that short of a run on the show? 2 episodes,
I
maybe?
think so. He's rubbing Lauren the wrong way, literally.
You're not going to say rubbing it out again like you did last night?
He's rubbing it out on Lauren, and Lauren ain't happy. Don Chump be dead next.
You think so?
You disagree.
I want to agree with you, but I feel like I'm going to, like, every week, I'm going to be the sissy who says it's somebody we don't know.
Yeah, but that's too easy.
It's too easy, Bill. Come on, yo.
I can't fathom a character that we've met that's going to meet their end yet. I think next week, here's my prediction. Next episode, nobody dies. That's what my Who Dead Next is. Nobody's going to die. Next week.
All right, well, you'll be 100% wrong.
So my Who Dead Next isn't somebody we don't know. My next Who Dead Next is
if nobody dies, I don't think it belongs in the Fargo newly spawned genre. People have to die if it's Fargo. If it's a Fargo.
So you're saying with 4 in the first episode, 1 this week, and if we do 1 a week for the rest of the show, you're talking like that's 13 dead people by the end of the season.
That's not that many.
That's like CNN Wolf Blitzer 24/7 coverage, like Nancy Grace. She's horrified by it.
We'll see. Don Chump be dead
Diane
next.
is just like Diane is very tight-lipped right now. She's just staring straight ahead into a blank thing.
I ain't gonna say nothing, y'all. I don't
I'm gonna go
like
with nothing.
Fargo.
I think you're onto something. I do think Chump is gonna be, he's gonna be bronze in the snow.
He's certainly gonna be a part of the next episode, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I think that's the show,
sure.
right? That's the thing. We got to thank Diane for being on the show.
It's been a pleasure. I loved it.
And thank her for coming. And like I said, she is the editor of the High Plains Reader. Visit them at hpr1.com and check it out. We'll be back next week to talk more. We'll have another hot dish and another episode. So until then, Sharpie, safe travels from your wonderland of South Dakota, where you are camped out at a hotel tonight.
Traveling back to my new home. I got a trunk full of wood chipper, which is awesome.
I saw that. There was somebody I heard somebody at Fargo Brewing last night say, is that guy, what? He's carrying 4 flats, which is basically 4 cases of wood chipper beer to your trunk. Was it 4 or 3?
It was 4. Yep.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.